Welcome back. Honestman, here with more Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. Last episode, we passed through the ancient quarry and arrived at the rest camp. We spent the night, but in addition, I took another trip into Bitterblack Isle, and my efforts were rewarded. The least of which is this light pickaxe, which I acquired, which is about half a pound lighter than a normal pickaxe. Much more importantly, I was able to acquire a pair of assault boots. The assault boots, as you can see, have pretty good defense, and they can be used by a wide array of vocations, just not pure casters. The thing that makes the boots so special, however, is the fact that they boost strength. The base bonus on the boots is plus 30, but that plus 30 is governed by any other boosts that you may have in play. So I'm getting 36 strength from these boots currently. Now, some folks might scoff at that a little bit, perhaps. I think that's weird, though. I mean, 36 for a warrior, 36 strength is equivalent to about 7 levels. And if you're talking about some of the other vocations, a 36 strength is many more levels than 7. It's more like 10 to 12. So I think the assault boots are great and definitely worth the trouble. In addition, on my way to acquiring the assault boots, I also acquired a patterned gambeson, which is a piece of clothing here. Nothing super special about it. It's got some decent defense. I had to go through that to get to my assault boots. I also picked up this extrinsic waistguard. This is not a Bitterblack armor per se. I think I just got this out of a regular chest in Bitterblack Isle. In addition, I was able to purify a level 3 novelty, and I acquired Tenacity, which is a secret augment that gives you a chance to survive a lethal attack. The percentage chance is higher depending upon how much hit points you have. So if you're at full HP and something rolls up and one-shots you, you have an extremely high chance of surviving. If you are holding on by a thread, it's a much, much lower chance. But nevertheless, especially at this point in the game, I think Tenacity is a good value. That does mean, however, that we need to drop one of our 6 existing augments, and I think it's time for Vigilance to go to the bench. This only gives us 100 hit points, and right now we're at 1740. I think we can afford to lose 100 hit points at this point. And of course, part of the reason we were at 6 augments is because we were able to gain some additional ranks in Warrior, which allowed us to unlock Clout, which greatly augments your strength. Similarly, Honestman here was able to hit Fighter level 5, which means he was able to unlock Sinew. Once again, that's just ranks. His character level has all been into Warrior, same as my main character. So with all the housekeeping out of the way, we pick up our Portcrystal, and we continue our adventure. Leaving west out of the rest camp here, we need to travel clockwise around this lake to arrive at the Shadow Fort. I suppose I should also mention Layla and Tia. I'm not sure if I had them in the prior episode, but welcoming some relatively strong pawns to the group. You can see in the distance there in Devilfire Grove the dragon that I warned of last episode. We want to give him a wide berth. So we're just going to get up to the mountain's edge here. You can see the dragon is still in the distance there. It does send us into Hobgoblin territory, but that's fine. These guys are chumps. If the dragon catches wind of you, just run away. Running's good. And as a matter of fact, I'm just going to sprint through to the Shadow Fort here. Once we pass through this outer door, we're technically going to be inside of a dungeon, which means we're not going to be able to use our Portcrystal. So you're going to want to put it down outside of this door somewhere instead. There we go. Now, before we enter, there's a whole lot of escort quests to the Shadow Fort. Now is an excellent time to do those. For example, at the notice board in Casardis, we have an escort mission to the Shadow Fort that awards a fairy stone. We don't actually have a use for a fairy stone, But it does sell for a little chunk of change, and just the base reward is 5,000 gold and 3,000 experience. And this is just going to take us a few seconds. And just like that, we're done. In Gran Soren, Mercedes would also like to be escorted to the Shadow Fort. This one awards the Lustrous Targe. With those out of the way, we continue forward into the Shadow Fort. We consult with Sir Robert here just inside the gate, and he tells us that he needs help getting through the door. And the way through, or our way around more precisely, is this tunnel. After passing through the tunnel and defeating some goblins, you'll ascend some stairs and find a door. You're going to want to go through the door. That's the main gate we need to open. And ascend the ladder directly across. At the top of the ladder, you'll have to clear out some more goblins. Once they're taken care of, hop on the siege weapon here. And you want to switch to explosive bolts right away. And target the source of the guys shooting at you. Yeah, when you see the XP pop up, that's a good sign you've found your mark. And then you can turn your attention down towards the courtyard. It may be hard to see, but it's a target-rich environment. But you should be able to really soften up the Cyclops down there, if not kill him outright. And there's one Cyclops down. The second one managed to break our gun here, but that's okay. Then we just head down to clean up on foot. Once you've cleared the courtyard, the back side of the central building reveals a ladder. And then just inside, we find some very important items. First of which is another Portcrystal. Don't miss that. We need that. And the Shadow Fort lever, which we need to open the main gate. Back inside the building we came up through, we want to ascend to the upper floors. And atop the building, we find the recess for the Shadow Fort lever. Back down into the courtyard, join the fray, and clear out the enemies. Keep fighting off the goblins until the cutscene. And then breach the fort. Atop the fort, you'll find another Cyclops. Eventually, you will make your way to the commander.
the dragon comes! Humans want destruction too! Humans want the dragon! Kill each other! Kill all you like! The end is nigh!
He slips away, unfortunately. I'm not sure if you can catch him if you're quick enough. But in any case, our work is done here.
Magnificent, sir. The hold is ours once more.
Yeah, as you saw there, be sure to talk to Sir Robert at the end to get some additional loot. Back in Gran Soren, we can turn in our quest with Maximilian here for even more rewards. And while we're here, we can swing into the Black Cat to retrieve the forgery that we commissioned. And there we are. We got the gold idol back, as well as a forgery, which, for the purposes of vendor discounts, works exactly as well as the original. So we'll tuck the gold idol into storage for the time being. We're going to need that a little later. And use the forgery to get our discounts. With the Shadow Fort secured, we are on to the second of our Worm Slayer quests, which is the Watergod's Altar. This one is going to take us to a location just west of the Mountain Way Castle. There's not a great way to get there. I'd recommend just leaving on foot from Gran Soren and working way south. Outside the Watergod's Altar, we meet up with a friend of sorts.
I've gained quest knowledge.
He wants us to investigate, of course. He's missing someone. There's not a whole lot to say about the Watergod's Altar, so I'm not going to cover it too much. Suffice it to say that you discover a locked door. You need to find the key for it. You also discover a raised bridge operated by a lever, which is missing. So you need to find the lever to lower the bridge to get the key to go through the door. In the back chamber, we find the brother that we were looking for. The now dead brother. And a Cyclops. And the Watergod's Altar key that we needed for the door near the beginning. Returning with the news.
Dead?
Yes, he is dead.
I've learned what to do in this quest.
Of course, he wants us to go right back in. Using the key to go through the locked door. After draining the water, the lower levels of the temple are revealed, and this is where we'll find the 5 pieces of stone slate, Alter Slate, that we need to advance the quest. After collecting all 5 pieces, hand them over.
You have my thanks, Arisen. I shall break the sad news of Brother Jean's sacrifice to Father Geoffrey myself. It was no fault of yours, sir. You've done your duty by us well, as the Father shall hear. Pray, do not let it weigh upon your heart. Go and tell Sir Maximilian of our success.
Once again, back to Maximilian to turn in the quest. Wyrm Hunt quest number 3 is going to be the Cypher. For this one, we need to return to the town square. There's someone there we haven't talked to yet. I don't know the exact time of day, but this courier will come through the town square sometime around midday. He's the guy we need to talk to.
Dragon Port and Scar, is it?
Morin.
I've learned what to do in this quest.
That gives us our lead to Hillfigure Knoll, which is our next stop. Before we go, however, our main pawn has increased rank in warrior, which means it's time for clout. Right now his strength is 641. We equip clout. and we go to 769. Exiting Gran Soren via the north gate should save you a little bit of time, and then you just follow the road across the bridge and up to our destination. On your way, you're going to go right past Windbluff Tower. I'd recommend putting a Portcrystal here. We're going to come back here relatively shortly, and a Portcrystal in this location will save us a little bit of time. There we go. And we had left the other one back at the Shadow Fort, so now we are empty on Portcrystals, but we're about to rectify that. Once we reach Hillfigure Knoll, a cutscene ensues.
Him who knows that I know what he seeks to know, knows it well, while he who knows not what I know, or know not. See me, yes? Then congratulations are due. You have found the man you seek. I am, or was, perhaps like you, a child of man, bound to the dragon. Well met, young Arisen. I am he who was forged by the dragon.
So here we just have treasures and a bunch of chatting, and that's it. Then we head back and cash it in. While you're here, however, make sure you don't miss the Portcrystal down in the lower area here. So now we have one that we can use moving forward. Once again, we get our reward from Maximilian. The fourth of the Wyrm Hunt quests is Seeking Salvation. This is going to take us to the Catacombs northwest of Gran Soren. We did leave a Portcrystal at Windbluff Tower, however. It's not a huge distance difference, but I typically go back to Windbluff Tower and then go due west from there. En route to the Catacombs from Windbluff Tower, you'll probably run into some direwolves, which is kind of good because you should also have a notice board quest to kill direwolves. In any case, I use this opportunity to switch to Fighter. Once we get to Fighter 8, we'll be able to get another strength boost. It's not as strong as the Warrior strength boost, it's half as strong, but still something that we want.
This leads down into the catacombs.
Outside the Catacombs, this may be a good place to set down our newly acquired Portcrystal. The Catacombs are pretty straightforward, but as you might guess, they are filled with undead. Second journal entry there. Make sure you grab that. And the location of that chest is right here on the second level.
Take care not to step on any stray bones.
When you get down to the meeting place, you find a familiar friend. That's sarcasm. He's not a friend. He's an enemy. We're going to kill him. Or at least try.
This is the answer, dear Arisen! Unto all things, death and chaos!
Should be a very easy encounter. Just clean up some undead.
Follow that voice to its source. Quite a sight that was. Though I suppose it's the stuff of every day to you, Arisen. I'd thank you to join me for a moment. The zealots slipped past, but at least we snared this one. An humbler prize, to be sure, but at least he's talkative. No honor among thieves, eh?
It was just a lark. All in good fun. I never gave over to that rot about destruction and salvation. Never.
Just the same, it'd be trouble if we let him go free, now that he's seen the two of us together.
Wait! You promised me!
He's all yours.
So here we're presented with a choice to kill this guy or not. Spoiler alert, he dies either way. Either Mason kills him or you do. So it's better if you do, because we want to stay on Mason's good side.
My. Didn't know if you'd have the stomach to do for an unarmed man. Suppose I was wrong to doubt it. Glad to know you're someone I can trust in times to come. And come they shall. I'll send word ere long, friend. We'll bring this skulk of foxes to bear, you and I.
Sound judgment. This was the only way.
And then one last trip to Maximilian for our reward. And that's going to be a wrap. All 4 Wyrm Hunt quests complete. We're going to pick up here next time in Gran Soren, seeking an audience with the king. Until then, thank you all so much. Please like and subscribe. This has been Honestman, and I will see you next time with more Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen.